I'm Pat Ford. I am Executive Director of the Business Development Corporation of the Northern Panhandle, and we are the property owners of the former Brooke Glass, and we are working in collaboration with the Wellsburg Urban Redevelopment Authority in the repurposing of this site. When we were asked to participate in this project, we explained to Carrie that there's been three challenges for us to get this property off center. This is the sixth abandoned mill or abandoned property that we've repurposed, and this is the one that's actually posed the most challenging project of all the six abandoned properties that we've been working on. And the challenges for this site are the adaptive use potential, the marketing and the tenants and the financing. The big demands in our particular market are for buildings ranging from 30,000 square feet up to 60 and then up to 110. And the big demand in our area for sites are anywhere from 2 acres up to 250 acres. This site is only 2 acres and it has an 80,000 square foot building in it with uranium, lead, arsenic, cobalt, all the stuff that is part of any healthy diet. So we've been fortunate enough over the past 2 years to get probably $400,000 from the US EPA to assess it and clean it up. Our initial plan was to use the cleanup money that we were just awarded to tear it down, but once we realized that if we tore it down, we would simply have a 2-acre site that really wouldn't have much value because it's just off of Route 2. And so understanding the paradigm that we're in, we knew that a warehouse on that building would not help us recoup our investment. So what we've been able to do today is come up with a strategy that we're really confident that we think that we can use to repurpose this site and at the same time provide something in the market that we think is needed. So we've broken out the project into 2 areas. The first is the building assessment, the design, and the marketing outreach. And what's critical about the $3,000 that's being awarded to us today is that $3,000 is going to help us get this project out of purgatory, quite frankly. It's been there too long. Most of our sites we've been able to repurpose probably within the first 6 months. So that $3,000 that you've given us, we've been able to we're going to match as the owner, we're going to match the other $9,000, or excuse me, $7,500. We're going to get 1,500 in-kind services from the participants on our team, thanks to the architect and the market specialist. And so that $3,000 is going to help us leverage $12,000 to get this property off center. What we then anticipate working with the architect is that we're probably looking at about a $5.5 million building, which is right in the sweet spot of the other buildings that we've been working on. Right now, analysis of the pro forma, preparation of the construction documents, financing from the West Virginia EDA, getting the bids out, construction financing, build it, and then selling or leasing this property probably within, I would say, 300 to 450 days. And again, this wouldn't be possible without the $3,000 that's being made available to us, and also getting access to the technical assistance that's been provided to us from Carrie. So, thank you very much.
All right, we're going to see if our judges have some questions.
Pat, on prospects and that kind of stuff, what supply chain would it? Is it like part of energy, steel, this natural gas?
It's actually it's a spin-off of what we actually have down at our Beach Bottom plant. That we have we bought the former Wheeling corrugating plant down in Beach Bottom. We have 480,000 square feet there. And we actually have 7 tenants right there now, ranging from 500 square feet for an engineering business that does site inspections and environmental analysis. We have pre-coat metals. We have a transportation logistics operation. We have an aluminum coater. So we have probably multiple different prospect industry clusters that we're tapping into in this area. So transportation, energy, metals, chemical, and professional services, all that we can tap into that we're currently getting, and we can't find enough space for them, even in the 480,000 square feet we have in Beach Bottom.
That's good. I'll tell you, the other thing is that while the traditional steel seems to have been, we're all aware of that. You guys have done a very nice job with the beach bottoms and things like that, and that's the kind of thing, if you can grow that through that finger in that region, I mean, that really could be very, very helpful.
That's what we're hoping for.
Very good.
Thank you very much, sir.
So just kind of listening to your conversations, is there, earlier conversations, is there a need in the community for kind of the artistic artisans to come in? Is there, I know you're close to Bethany College, so what kind of impact could, if you kind of went with the artisan community, is there a draw for that?
Yes, there is. Actually, there's a draw from two areas that we're learning that surprisingly, and I'm saying this is surprising when that's no disrespect for the good folks at Wellsburg, this place has popped up into a pretty good foodie town. I mean, there's a great selection of foods and restaurants that are in this particular town. The problem with keeping them is having good quality available space. And we're getting the students from West Liberty, we're getting students from Bethany that are actually coming over here to eat, and also the students and the professors, because they can generally get there between 10 and 15 minutes, have their lunch and go back, as well as come there after work. So we're getting a lot of support from those two communities. The untapped market that we really haven't started exploring is the crafts and artisan that we just started exploring with one of the other programs. I forgot what was the most recent program that we had in, where we had the painters coming over with the Brooke class pickers. And so we just opened up the idea that there's also this underground movement of glass collectors, glass artisans, things of that nature that is also an untapped market. So I think between exploring those particular options with this building for the artisans, small incubators, maybe even a small 2,500 to 5,000 square foot restaurant, or some of these other offices that are back office operations for these other industries. I think we can come up with a pretty cool mix of businesses that's just right outside of the central business district, and also 1 block away from Route 2, and also right on the Yankee Trail, which is a trail that connects Wheeling to Weird, and it's a paved trail, and the trail actually goes right along the side. And I should have used this exhibit. This is State Route 2. This is the Yankee Trail. The Ohio River is right here, so we're just 1 block, and the building actually encompasses this whole area. And what we're looking at is repurposing the office building that's in front, and then demoing where the operations and the handling of the glass were in back, and possibly looking at new construction back here.
So it's a tear down and a rehab?
Both, yes. We're looking at repurposing the front that Monica and Jennifer were kind of instrumental in telling us how realistic this could be, to keep this part, but demoing the back part, which is, and this also happens to be the part that's in really bad shape, and that's where most of the handling of the asbestos, uranium, lead, arsenic, cobalt, and a lot of that's in the ground, in the mortar. I mean, it's kind of a mess. So, and also the roof's collapsing. So this is a good block building up front, and also, quite frankly, has the most architectural integrity from an aesthetic standpoint as well. And it also faces the town, and this side is also visible on Route 2. So when you're driving Route 2, this facade hits you in the face. So I think it would be only right as an attraction to keep that, because it wouldn't be, quite frankly, too appealing if we just had another industrial building there that would detract from the landscape.